Have you ever felt like you're just an ordinary person, going through the motions of life? You wake up, you go to work or school, you come home, and you wonder, is this all there is? What if I told you that your life, right here, right now, has a profound purpose? A divine appointment waiting to be discovered? Let us dive into the incredible story of a young woman who went from being an orphan to a queen, not for the crown, but for a cause that would change history. This is the story of Esther. Imagine a young Jewish girl, an orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai. Her name was Hadassah. But to the world, she would become known as Esther. She lived in a foreign land, under the rule of a powerful Persian king. By a stroke of what seemed like luck, this ordinary girl was chosen to be the new queen. It sounds like a fairy tale, right? A rags to riches story. But God had a much bigger plan in motion, a plan far beyond the palace walls and royal banquets. Esther's position wasn't the destination, it was the platform. While Esther was getting used to her new life, a storm was gathering. A wicked and powerful official named Haman despised Esther's people, the Jews, filled with hatred. He manipulated the king into signing a decree to annihilate every single one of them. The date was set, but genocide was planned. Fear and mourning spread throughout the Jewish communities. It was a moment of absolute despair. Where was God in all this? It seemed like all hope was lost. This is where Esther's cousin, Mordecai, steps back into the picture. He sent a message to the queen, a desperate plea. He told her about the decree and urged her to go before the king and beg for the lives of her people. But this wasn't a simple request. In the Persian court, approaching the king without being summoned was a death sentence. Anyone, even the queen, could be executed on the spot if the king didn't extend his golden scepter. Esther was terrified, and who could blame her? She replied, "Everyone knows that if I go to the king without being called, there is but one law: to be put to death." This is the turning point of the entire story. Mordecai's response to her fear is one of the most powerful and famous lines in the entire Bible. He sent back this message: "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will rise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this." For such a time as this, those words echoed in Esther's heart. Suddenly, it all clicked. Her whole life being an orphan, being chosen as queen, her position of influence, it wasn't a coincidence. It was a divine setup. God had placed her in that exact palace, at that exact moment in history, for this very purpose. Her royalty wasn't for her own comfort, it was for the salvation of her people. She had a choice to make: stay silent and safe, or risk everything for what was right. Esther chose courage. She sent a message back to Mordecai, asking him to gather all the Jews and fast for her for 3 days. She and her maids would do the same. And then, she said these resolute words: "I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." After 3 days of prayer and fasting, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, waiting. When the king saw her, God granted her favor. He extended his golden scepter. Esther had found the courage to step into her destiny. Through a series of divinely orchestrated events, she exposed Haman's evil plot, and the king not only spared the Jews, but gave them the right to defend themselves. An entire nation was saved because one ordinary person was brave enough to say yes to her. God-given purpose. So what does this ancient story have to do with you and me today? Everything. Just like Esther, you are not here by accident. Your life isn't a random series of events. Your unique experiences, your talents, your job, your relationships, even your challenges, they are all part of a bigger plan. God has placed you exactly where you are, right now, for such a time as this. You might not be in a palace, but you have a sphere of influence. It could be in your family, your workplace, your school, or your community. You have a unique purpose that only you can fulfill. Don't ever believe the lie that you're just an ordinary person. In God's hands, ordinary people do extraordinary things. Maybe you're facing a situation right now where you need to be brave to speak up for what's right or to step out in faith. Remember Esther. Remember that you were born for such a time as this. Thanks for watching. If this story encouraged you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that inspires and uplifts. See you in the next video.